What's up guys, welcome to episode 3 where I'm going to take you through the build process for the Silver Fox PC and I finally get to show off the finished product. Now I appreciate you guys checking out the first couple episodes so far, but this video is going to be a little bit different in the sense that it's basically just a series of build logs from start to finish, sort of showing off some of the different processes that went into putting this PC together. Now these build logs are going to be very similar to a lot of the videos that I've already uploaded on the channel from previous builds, and I like to do these sort of things to maybe inspire you guys to try some new things or think outside the box when it comes to putting together your own custom PCs. For the majority of you guys who visit my channel looking for this sort of content, I think you're really going to enjoy this video. But if the idea of 20 or so minutes of a guy rambling on about how he built a custom PC sounds boring to you or simply not interesting, I'm going to go ahead and post a link in the description where you can go ahead and take a look at the photos that I took of the build after it was completed, so you can kind of spare yourself the time. For the rest of you though, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the build logs here. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, please leave them in the comment section below, and I hope you guys enjoy. So here we are at the very beginning of the build log for the Silver Fox PC. Now this is going to look familiar to some of you guys because this is a torn down version of my previous personal rig. We decided that since I was going to be getting rid of a lot of these components that I had previously used since I went back to my old Case Labs case, since they fit her theme, we've decided to go ahead and repurpose a lot of these components. For obvious reason, it's silver and it really, it just makes sense. But I'm going to be eliminating a lot of these interior panels and putting in new panels that are going to more closely match the theme and the build that I'm going for here. So first thing I need to do is start getting some of this stuff out of here. Obviously I've already taken all of the components out that I'm now using in my personal rig. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take this 120 out of the rear and swap in the original 140 that goes here just to have better exhaust in the case. And then I'm going to eliminate one of these 120s here because I'm just going to be using two for the 240 millimeter radiator that's going to be going in the front. I'm going to be making, I have some plans for this section here. I hope it's going to work out, but I'm going to be putting a new different panel on here, going with the new panel down here. You guys will see the process. I'm going to reuse the cables I had in here. However, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to add a little bit of extra color in here. So won't so much be the sort of monochromatic build that I originally had in here. We're definitely going for something a little flashier. So this is her card, and this is a pretty good indication of sort of the style that we're going to be going for. Now my goal is this purple and sort of teal grid pattern, which shows up on here and then various other parts of her stream. I'm going to try to create that down here. So I'm going to go with a purple shroud, and then I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I would really like to get that grid pattern going here. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to start tearing this down, get some of the other components dry fit in here, and maybe start figuring out what I need to do about these panels here. I'm not sure if I need to order any new acrylic yet or not. I've still got some, so we'll see what I need to do there. But for the time being, I just kind of wanted to show you guys the starting point of what we're working with here. So I'm back to working on the Silver Fox build, and I'm at a point where I'm ready to kind of get the system up and running and test everything out, make sure everything's good before I start doing all the modifications and installing any of the water cooling. I've got the radiator sort of test fitted here. I'm going to be modding this SwiftTech unit. I'm going to be adding a reservoir and a drain valve, and then kind of customizing the loop. I'm going to stick with soft tubing just because of the way these fittings all worked out. I was hoping that I could remove all of these and replace them with rigid fittings, but it's just not going to work out. But I think it'll still be nice. I'm going to do the best I can to make the flexible tubing look as custom and as nice as possible. So I've done some mods to some of the original cables that were in here from my previous build, namely added some purple, and then had to redo some of the fan cables. I took out the 120 that was back here and put the original 140 back in, just to help with some of the exhaust, and then you know, sleeve that cable purple. So you can kind of start to see the theme coming together. This is a stand-in card. She's actually still using the 980 that's going to go in here, so I just swiped this out of my son's PC for the time being so I can kind of get everything going here. But yeah, I got the original shroud off. You can see where I had dremeled this basement, but this is all going to get covered back up. I know that I'm planning to mount the res somewhere in this area here. If it's gonna work out, I'm not sure yet. That's what I would like to do. I'm a little bit worried about some clearance with the graphics card, but this should be the same size. I believe these PCBs on the 1070 reference is the same as on the 980, so this will at least give me a decent sort of template to see where things are going to go. So that's basically where I'm at now. You know, as soon as I get this going, make sure everything's working properly, I'm going to go ahead and start on some of these case mods. I had to put in an order for some parts, so I'm going to hit a point where I'm going to be waiting on some stuff to come in from performance PCs. But I've got the 2 terabyte WD Black down here, 840 EVO SSD. So the majority of all the components are in here aside from the graphics card, and then we've got a capture card going in as well. But this will at least get me where I need to be for the time being to sort of get things going. I highly recommend, before you start installing all of your custom components that could be difficult to uninstall, kind of do a rough go through of the system. Make sure all your components boot up properly before you go through all the trouble, only to find out that something isn't working right and you've got to take everything back apart again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll see if I get any further this evening, or if I save some of the work for another night. So this is what we're going to call a roadblock here. As you can see, I have successfully converted the SwiftTech all-in-one cooler into hard tubing here, and it looks flippin' awesome. I'm really excited about the way that it turned out. Now I do have a plate going here, so it actually would look even better once I get this fixed up over here, but unfortunately I think I'm gonna have to scrap this, and I'll show you guys why here. Let me kick the pump on. So I'm in the process of just rinsing and leak testing, and it actually sounds okay. Bottom line is, this pump, it just won't, no matter what I do and how hard I try, it's way too noisy. It won't prime properly, and it goes through varying different stages of, you know, it sounds a little bit quieter for a while. It actually even sounds a little bit like it's choking, which I don't really understand. But make a long story short, I can't have a system like this with an annoyingly loud or noisy pump sitting next to someone who's trying to stream. So I'm gonna have to scrap this, and I guess I will pull this out. I'm gonna try to keep this stuff where it is. I'm gonna swap it in. I guess I'll put in a 40mm wide EK 240 and then mount probably a D5 pump down here. So that should work out. It was, you know, I had high hopes for this here, this configuration, but it's too darn noisy, and you know, given the circumstances, that's obviously not a good thing. But I can at least kind of show you guys where I'm at this point. I did make a custom backplate for the graphics card, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that hidden for now. We'll see that when everything's finished. But yeah, so far everything's pretty much working out the way that I wanted it to as far as the positioning of everything goes. It's just unfortunate this doesn't seem like it's going to work out. So I don't know. We'll see how we can remedy this. Okay, so fast forward 24 hours and we have a completely different sort of setup here. I did want to maintain the positioning of some of the stuff, so I sort of worked around that, but obviously I ditched the SwiftTech all-in-one radiator and pump combo and just went with a EKD5 and EK240 res. So now we just have a full custom loop, and all we have is just the, you know, sort of subdued hum of the D5. It is PWM, so we'll be able to turn down the RPM to keep it a little quieter. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. As I mentioned before, I'm still putting a plate in here, but I wanted to maintain these sort of kind of crazy angles to go with the theme, and you'll see more of that as the build progresses, or actually comes to a completion, because I'm pretty much in the home stretch now. So I'm going to go ahead and probably let this leak test for just a little bit longer, but everything is good, I think. And then I'll flush this distilled water out, and then put my actual coolant in. So yeah, just kind of wanted to show you guys before everything is hidden. I did put a drain valve in here. So basically I just slid the hard drive out, and it gives me easy access from the backside to the drain valve with a flex tube attached to it. So I've drained this a few times. Now the res is just sort of suspended. I used a bulkhead fitting on a plate here at the top, so functions as a nice fill port, and then also sort of holds the res in place as well as the two connections here. So it's nice and sturdy, even though there are no clamps on here that you would normally see. This allowed me to sort of suspend this out here in the middle of the case, rather than having to attach it to the back or the radiator or that sort of thing. So and again, as it progresses and as I get things in place, you'll see why I wanted to do that. But again, just doing something different here. So trying to use the depth of the case to create some interesting angles. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and work on starting to do some of my panels. I still have a little bit of cabling left to do, mainly just for the GPU. All my other cables I think are done. I'm pretty sure I'm done with everything else. And then I need to get my lighting installed, which some of it's pre-installed already, but I do need to change a couple things. So that's where we're at now, and possibly the next time that you see this, it will essentially be completed. So the system's done here, and I'm doing some stress testing on the overclock, and just to sort of show you guys what to expect with the 7700K, and this has been delidded, but running at 4.9 gigahertz at 1.3 volts. I've been stress testing for about 30 minutes now, and we are hovering right around 62C. That's at 100% synthetic load. Now granted, we're on water, but that is that's damn impressive there. So you can see why a lot of people love this chip, and I think it's going to serve her well, especially because we can get such a good overclock with low temperatures and keep the fan speeds down. So that's going to translate into an overall quieter system, and really when you're streaming, that's very important. So anyway, this is meant to be me showing off the completed system. We'll get some more footage of that, but just wanted to take a moment here to show you guys what the overclock was looking like and what the temperatures were. I am very pleased with the way this turned out, to say the least. Mostly because pretty much every idea that I wanted to implement, I was able to do. Just a few snags along the way, but for the most part, it turned out almost exactly the way I envisioned it. And yeah, I'm very happy. So now I do want to say, on film here, at least on this screen, I don't know how well these colors show up. Purples and blues tend to really play tricks with the camera, so I hope that when I edit and upload this video it shows up a little bit better, but I will have plenty of pictures posted, so if you want to see more of this build, definitely check out my Instagram, my website, that sort of thing. So anyway, I guess I'll dive right in here and just kind of show off a couple of the features that I was able to implement in this build that are a little bit unique, and some stuff that I've been wanting to try for a while now, and just finally had the right build to sort of mess around with. So I guess the first thing that stands out that you're noticing is the LED screen that's built into the front panel. So that's basically, it's a little 5-inch LCD display. There's these things are floating around on eBay and Amazon. They're kind of meant for Raspberry Pis, but it works out really well to use as just sort of a way to spice up the build. You just plug in an HDMI cable, route it through and around to the back of your graphics card, and essentially use it as a second monitor. And then this one in particular is powered by USB. So I just installed an internal, USB-A adapter. I don't know. I'll link it in the description. I don't remember exactly what they call it. But yeah, it's got a 480 by 800 resolution, and it actually looks pretty darn good. I mean, it's not going to give you the greatest image quality in the world as far as color depth goes, but for 40 or 50 bucks, I guess you can't expect too much from an LCD display. So I'm going to pull the camera off here. So the next thing I did here that I've been wanting to do for a while, finally had a chance to do it, is mounting the D5 pump with the Plexi top in such a way that it really shows off how cool that top looks with the fluid going through it. And I've had this idea where, make it so that the pump looks like it's just in the floor or basement of the case or panel somehow. So I mounted it, obviously. I actually mounted this to the side of the drive tray and just mounted it at an angle where not only did it directly feed the front radiator, but poked up enough to where I could cut this panel. Excuse the dust. I left this glossy for reflection purposes, but this sucker really collects dust. Now this is where the Dremel Moto saw comes in handy, because obviously I had to cut this around to make it look like the pump is sort of built into the basement. But yeah, the pump's being fed directly by the reservoir as usual, and then it goes straight into the radiator. There is a drain valve installed over there. This system drains very easily because of the way everything is positioned. It also fills very easily as well. And then yeah, it comes up from there. Now I wanted to keep this sort of angled approach to everything to fit the theme, so that's why I've got these different bends going in different directions. I also wanted to create some depth to the build, so I've got the reservoir mounted forward, so that the tubing routing has to kind of move from the front to the back of the case. Also needed to make sure that we would be able to remove any of these components, replace, add, upgrade, that sort of thing, without the liquid cooling loop sort of being in the way. So that's a lot of the reason that everything seems to be shoved over towards the front of the case. Just utilizing that space over there, but also maintaining access to the motherboard. Processor shouldn't have to be upgraded. Maybe we want to add more RAM later on, swap out the video card, that sort of thing. So just for the sake of not having to disassemble the loop in order to do that stuff, that's sort of the idea behind pushing things this way. But yeah, another thing I did was I actually have the reservoir, it's mounted to the top. I just kind of built a plate, installed a bulkhead fitting, and then a male-to-male screwed it in to that. So not only is there easy access to the fill port up here once you remove this top panel, but it's also suspending this reservoir kind of out here. Of course, it's braced with a couple more tubing runs, so it's very stable. But that way you're not restricted to having the reservoir sort of mounted to, you know, a wall somewhere or, you know, onto the radiator. So the 980 that she already had that we used for the build did not have a backplate, so I went ahead and fabricated one. It's just acrylic, and then I installed vinyl over it and created these sort of patterns on here. Most everything in this build, at least I tried my best, is to mimic these angles, not only that are sort of dictated on the motherboard itself, but also just the nature of the design of the things that she does. I wanted to carry that theme throughout the entire build. I use different, I've got gloss black, matte black, and then a mixture of the two to create a little bit of depth. I've got these panels sort of floating in different planes so that we create some depth there and really give this build sort of a three-dimensional look. So again, I think it worked out really well. I can honestly say I don't think there's anything that I would change about this or do over. Again, it worked out really well. This was sort of an accident because originally, if you saw the last video, I was meaning to use a SwiftTech all-in-one cooler converted over to rigid tubing, which is where I took this block from. But when I got the system up and running, the pump was way too loud and I could not get the thing to shut up. So I ended up just going with a D5 pump, which we know is mostly quiet, and a 240 by 40 millimeter EK radiator. So again, it was kind of a happy accident that it worked out this way because I was finally able to sort of implement this idea here that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm glad that even though it seemed like a pain at the time, it really worked out as far as the having fun with the build and trying some new things. So I guess I will comment on this block here. I love this block. I did have a black EK Supremacy Evo block that I could have used, but I think the design of this water block fits the theme a lot better with these chamfered, you know, sort of angles on here. And then of course being clear to where you can see the UV reactive fluid flowing through there is a bonus. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say. I know you guys are going to have some questions, so feel free to ask down in the comment section below. I'll try to link as many of these parts and these things in the description as I can to help you guys find them. But if I miss something or if you have any other questions, definitely feel free to let me know. But otherwise, yeah, this is going to sum up this sort of little video walkthrough of the overall build.
Okay, so we're going to reveal the PC now, and it's right here, so I'm going to look at it.